The last time my wife, Hannah, looked at me before walking out the front door, she smiled. It was small, soft, the kind of smile people give when they're telling a lie they've already decided isn't big enough to destroy anything. "It's just a weekend with old friends," she said lightly, dragging her suitcase down the hallway. The wheels echoed against the hardwood floors. That sound stayed with me longer than I expected. I remember standing there, feeling something heavy settle in my chest. Not anger, not even suspicion, just weight. Like my body knew something my mind wasn't ready to admit. A day later, the truth arrived by accident. A mutual friend sent me a photo that wasn't meant for me. In that picture, Hannah wasn't surrounded by friends. She was standing beside her ex-boyfriend, fingers laced with his, both of them smiling in front of a quiet lakeside resort nearly 400 miles away. They weren't in a crowd. They weren't confused. They weren't just talking. They looked peaceful, like two people who didn't have anything to hide. That image felt like a door closing somewhere deep inside me. When she came home, I didn't yell. I didn't throw the phone. I didn't demand answers. She didn't deny it. Head down, staring at her shoes, she said it was just one mistake. She told me she needed closure, old feelings, unfinished emotions. One last meeting to move forward. She cried. She reminded me of 13 years. Our house, our history, our life. "Please don't throw us away over one terrible decision," she whispered. I listened. I let her say everything she needed to say. Then I told her something she wasn't expecting. "Take all the time you need." Relief washed over her face. She thought I meant we were going to fix this, but what I really meant was, I need time to decide who I am without this. She moved into her sister's apartment to think. Every few days, she texted me hopeful messages, asking if we could talk, asking if I was ready. I stayed calm, polite, measured. I never fought, I never accused, I never promised anything either. The calmer I was, the more she believed forgiveness was coming. Friends and family called me constantly. Everyone makes mistakes. Don't throw away 13 years. Fight for your marriage. And I understand why they said that. But none of them saw the photo. None of them watched months of small lies stack on top of each other. None of them felt that quiet shift when trust starts dissolving long before the big explosion. Forgiveness is personal. Rebuilding trust? That's structural, and once the foundation cracks, you can't just repaint the walls. During that month, while she thought I was healing, I was preparing. I met with professionals. I organized our finances. I studied every option carefully. I found a smaller house across town. The first time I walked inside, it was silent in a way that felt clean. No tension in the walls. No history pressing down on my chest. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe. I packed slowly, not angrily, not dramatically. I labeled every box. I listed every shared asset. I didn't post cryptic messages online. I didn't make scenes. From the outside, it looked like routine home maintenance. The hardest thing to pack wasn't the furniture. It was a small wooden memory box she gave me on our 5th anniversary. Inside were handwritten notes from our happiest years. For a moment, I considered leaving it behind, but those memories were real. They weren't fake just because the ending hurt. So I took the box with me, not to relive it, but to respect it. Exactly 1 month later, she texted me, "I'm coming home tonight. I think we're ready to start over." I replied with 3 words, "Drive safely home." She read hope in that message. I was saying goodbye. As the sun set, I locked the door to my new house for the first time. Then I drove away from the old one for the last time. An hour later, my phone buzzed. I had left a small camera in the hallway. I watched as Hannah stood at the front door holding flowers. She looked nervous, hopeful. She stepped inside. Within seconds, the smile disappeared. The house was empty. No couch, no pictures, no life, just quiet walls and echoes. In the hallway, on a small table, sat one envelope. Her hands were shaking when she picked it up. Inside wasn't anger. It wasn't insults. It wasn't revenge. It was clarity. I wrote that the trip wasn't one mistake. It was the final decision in a long series of smaller ones. I listed the late nights, the hidden messages, the inconsistencies, the times my intuition whispered and I ignored it. I told her I wasn't leaving because I hated her. I was leaving because I no longer recognized the marriage we were standing in. Next to the letter was a folder, contact numbers, paperwork, clear instructions. No chaos, no traps, just honesty. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. She was crying so hard she could barely speak. "I thought you just needed time," she whispered. "I did," I said calmly. "Just not for the reason you thought." I explained that I had already forgiven her. I refused to carry anger into my future. But forgiveness doesn't magically restore trust. Trust is built in drops, broken in waves. She said she believed space would make the pain fade. I told her gently, "Distance can heal accidents. It can't erase choices." The silence that followed was heavier than any argument we ever had. The divorce moved forward respectfully. Difficult conversations, yes, but dignified. Over time, she admitted something important. Calling it one mistake was her way of shrinking something too big to face. 2 years later, I opened that memory box again. This time, I didn't feel bitterness. I felt gratitude. We had real love once, real joy, and that matters. People sometimes ask if I felt anything watching her stand there with flowers. I did, but it wasn't regret. By the time she walked into that empty house, hoping for a second chance, I had already rebuilt something more important than a marriage. I rebuilt my self-respect. That empty house wasn't the end of my life. It was the place where I chose honesty over comfort, peace over illusion. Love can survive many things, but trust, once broken again and again, doesn't wait patiently behind a locked door. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't to fight for someone to stay. It's to quietly decide you deserve better and walk away with dignity.